For the first time ever, a service academy played college football in Baton Rouge, and with that we get all the ascribed pageantry to pop. In the circumstance, nothing to get choked up over, but it's going to be a fun one tonight. The ball came flying in with the paratroopers getting the night started, and a welcome recognition for those men as well. That ball will be in the air soon. It's LSU and Army in mere moments.
In my pants, and I've been wearing down the bones in my hands. I'm getting off, and yeah, I got me some plans. I got this fever burning inside. I got this fever getting me high. Oh!
Welcome to SEC Saturday night.
Let's have a great night.
From Death Valley in Baton Rouge, welcome to SEC Saturday Night, presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet. In a stadium that's been standing for 99 years, will play host to a service academy for the very first time. Black Knights from the Hudson are in town to take on this LSU team, which still has visions of an SEC championship and a berth in the college football playoff. Here come the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Here comes Army for the first time ever in Tiger Stadium. Black Knights trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. Coach Munkin's team shut out last week. Need to find some offense against one of the most prolific offensive teams in college football. And with that, we welcome you to Red Sick, everybody. Tom Hart alongside Jordan Rogers. We've got Cole Kubelik down on the field. It's a tough test for Army tonight, no doubt about it. They have to face one of the most prolific offenses in the game, one of only 2 teams in the country, Jordan, to be top 10 in the nation in rushing and passing, and they got a real Heisman candidate at quarterback.
Yeah, he's a contender for sure, and really one of the greatest dual-threat quarterbacks we'll see. One of only 6 FBS quarterbacks of all time to have 10,000 passing yards, 2,000 rushing yards. But what I love about Jaden Daniels is he is a pocket-first, a pass-first quarterback with the ability to run. It's really been his development within the pocket that has unlocked this offense this year, and he's got a couple great wide receivers on the outside to help him out.
45 points in 3 consecutive games. Malik Neighbors, preseason All-American. All he's doing is leading the country in receiving yards.
Yeah, he's got a number of them, but no better than Malik Neighbors. He's the go-to guy. 34% of all targets for LSU go to Malik Neighbors. His route running is much improved, and his catch after the run is dynamic. I expect to hear a lot of number 8 tonight.
Meanwhile, when you hear Army, the first thought is probably triple option. Well, this isn't your great-grandpa's team, your grandpa's team, your uncles, or even your big brothers, because a rule change that was minor to some in college football was major to the service academies, and Cole Kubelik completely changed the way Army operates offensively.
Absolutely, Tom. That rule change that went in after the 2021 season does not allow linemen or backs to go low outside the tackle box. So some of those cutoff blocks that Army offensive linemen, tight ends, running backs could go up to the linebackers and cut off the backside or backside defensive ends. It's not going to be able to be done anymore. So that great equalizer in the triple option has been taken away. Therefore, Coach Munkin decided he wanted to spread things out a little bit more, become more balanced. This will not be an Army offense that's foundation is built upon the triple option. There still will be option principles within this offense, but it'll be more spread out. There'll be more passing, and some players that have had a lot of success through the years inside that triple option, guys, not having near the success for this Army offense this season.
Well, there's certainly positives to it, one of which is the guy we'll see at quarterback today. Champ Harris told us this week that he wouldn't have come to Army if they're still running the triple option. direction. Now it's a little bit more wide open for him. But now he faces the challenge as a true freshman making his first career start on the road in front of 100,000.
A monumental challenge, right? True freshman under the lights here in Death Valley. A little bit more of a traditional drop back passer. The option stuff doesn't quite come as naturally to Champ Harris, but he's a good athlete. A little more east and west in their former quarterback that was injured, Bryson Daly. So I look forward to see Champ Harris, how he responds under the lights tonight. Said he played a couple of ESPN games in high school, so used to a little bit of a spotlight. That spotlight shines much brighter here in Baton Rouge.
It's his first time inside this stadium along with the rest of this Army football program. They have met once before. A couple of programs that started in the 1890s. The only other meeting came in November of 1931. Army shut out LSU 20-0 that night. Pyrotechnics have been shot off. Waiting for the clouds to clear and the smoke to get out of the way here at Death Valley. And we will get it going with Cole Talley putting the ball on the tee. And Caleb Jackson deep to receive for LSU. Tigers won the toss, so they've elected to take the football to start the game. Nice of you to let that kid borrow your hat tonight, Jay.
I missed it.
Yeah, I know. And we are underway in Death Valley. No chance for a return for LSU. Our first look at a senior from San Bernardino, California, by way of Arizona State. Jaden Daniels, 5,000 passing yards, 1,000 rushing yards in his career, first in program history.
Yeah, and I mentioned talking to Mike Denbrock, the offensive coordinator, just a few days ago, talked about the development that Jaden Daniels made this offseason, the understanding of passing concepts. They are much more robust in what they'll do and how they'll attack defenses, and you're seeing it in the explosive plays they generate.
Logan Diggs is his running back. He's really come on strong the last few games for LSU. And he'll throw it on first down, and quickly to Kyron Lacey. He's got a first down and will take it for 15 on the first play of the game.
Yeah, one thing to note here as LSU gets to the ball, right tackle Emory Jones out tonight. True freshman Lance Hurd will be starting there on the outside. Big body, talented kid. Keep an eye on his development. He's going to be a good one.
Freshman from over in Monroe, Louisiana. Diggs will empty the backfield. Only Oregon has a top 10 offense in both passing and rushing, and Daniels off the mark there. Malik Neighbors went out, thought he was going in.
A little pressure there actually made Jaden Daniels hot. Tried to get it to his hot route, but he was breaking out. Little stick route. Thought he was sitting down.
It was senior Jackson Powell got in the backfield against Daniels. See how often Army wants to bring any pressure. On 2nd and 10, Daniels going deep, wide open, and a catch made by Brian Thomas Jr. And he stays on his feet to get a few more. It's a gain of 32.
Oh, it's a great pocket here for Jaden Daniels, and really a double move on the outside by Brian Thomas, a post corner. Really good job here of selling the post, 3 steps in, cutting out of it on a dime, and turning Jabari Moore for Army around.
Working on Moore, who guarded George Pickens every day in high school at Hoover High, and they quickly swing it out to Chris Hilton Jr., and he's able to rip off 13, and LSU firing on all cylinders early.
Boy, the explosive plays for LSU are through the roof this year. Last year, much more horizontal stretch, more ball control, what we call split field reads for Jaden Daniels as he developed as a passer from Arizona State to now. Playbook is wide open, and you're seeing it in those explosive plays like I mentioned.
Caleb Jackson in the backfield for LSU. He goes straight ahead and is able to pick up 8 on first down. Daniels keeps this one, sheds one tackler, and makes it back to the line of scrimmage. But nothing else. Chris Fry, senior from Canyon Lake, California, with the stop.
Tell you what, going to be hard to fool these Army defensive ends with the option.
Yeah.
You see it quite a bit. Right. You know what I mean? They've seen it forever. May look a little different, but good job staying home there on the outside by Caleb Fortner.
So third and a very short one. Logan Diggs is back in the backfield next to Daniels. Opening drive for LSU. Diggs got sandwiched after picking up the first down, and LSU will have first and goal. Cameron Jones.
You're seeing a lot of tempo here. Like Denbrock mentioned, getting in a better rhythm here in the red zone.
And so they'll go straight ahead with it. And with the stretch, he's in. Touchdown, Logan Diggs in LSU. Well, red zone was a point of emphasis this week for LSU. And no issues on this opening drive.
Actually, a really good job by Army of holding that line. Big number 96, Darius Richardson, took on a double team. That's why Diggs had a tough time to fight through that initial contact to get the ball over the line.
An 8-play, 75-yard scoring drive. That's a 5th touchdown over the last 3+ games for Diggs. And Damian Ramos puts it through. LSU able to get on the board first as Brian Kelly opted, after winning the toss, to take the ball. 7-0. Fighting Tigers of LSU. Army with a chance to answer after this. Nightfall in Red Sick, and a warm one today. 84 degrees at kickoff here in Baton Rouge. So unseasonably warm. No bother for these Fighting Tigers. Come in at 5-2 on the season, 19th ranked team in the country, and no issues on their opening drive, and that one through the back of the end zone. Meanwhile, first start of the career of Hezekiah Harris, and my dad gave me the nickname Champ when I was younger, something to live up to. And his dad is a quarterback coach by trade, works on a regular basis with Lamar Jackson. I've been a mentor to Champ throughout his playing days. South Florida, St. Thomas Aquinas, and Champ Harris making his first career start tonight. Playing the second half against Troy after Bryson Daly, their regular starter on the season, went down with a leg injury. Daly is not available tonight. And Harris is not the only first-year player out there on the offense for Army. Kanye Udo is running back as a freshman. His starting center, Brady Small, is also a freshman. Udo had a great game last week and able to take care of 3 yards on first down here tonight. Udo coming off of a career-high 124 against Troy.
Yeah, first thing you're going to notice with this new look Army offense is receivers, real ones, split out wide, right? Multiple. They get in and out of personnel groups. They want to try to spread the field, create a light box, and then attack up the middle. It's still an option, principled, still a run offense, but they don't want to stack everybody in the box and go 2 yards in a cloud of dust. They want to try to spread the field a little bit more.
123rd in the country in the passing game. They will go for it on fourth down. In fact, they converted the first 14 of the season. And here's an option look. And Harris is nowhere to go. He gets sandwiched after a pickup of 1 by Omar Spades. Some key missing pieces for both sides. Mentioned Bryson Daly, the quarterback. Isaiah Austin still not back. Josh Lingenfelter out for this one for Army. LSU will sit Emory Jones and Mekhi Wingo, and Deuce Chestnut is still unavailable. He's played in 4 games after transferring from Syracuse, but is inactive tonight for LSU.
Here's where you got to keep an eye on Harold Perkins. Playing a lot more slot corner out over that slot, but this is where they can decide to bring him or not here on third down.
Didn't come, gonna play the pitch. Perkins trying to track him down and got a piece of him. And then a hit across the sideline by Greg Penn. And that'll bring a fourth down on the run by Kanye Udo.
Yeah, this is part of the defensive change that LSU has made since that Ole Miss game, going more 4 down, which means Harold Perkins playing in a lot more space. Not an inside linebacker anymore, not playing the edge as much, getting him in space, letting him be an athlete there is a great job, because he's responsible for quarterback, then pitchman, redirected, and made that play on third down.
Billy Belkey will punt it away for Army. Gregory Clayton Jr. back to receive for LSU. Low kick will take an Army bounce, and this thing's going to carry all the way to the 10-yard line. It's a 58-yard punt from Belkey. Let's take a look at tonight's Easy Choice, brought to you by Geico.
Well, look, Jaden Daniels, his ability to rush is absolutely dynamic. So when you're rushing him, you can't get deeper than him because you leave these big rush lanes. He's going to attack it. And when you're blitzing, you can't be on his upfield shoulder. He's too athletic. He can get around you, turn the corner, and again, tack grass. So when you are rushing him, it's imperative to actually don't try to get him. Get eyes on him. Keep leverage. Keep your outside shoulder open so you can keep him within the pocket and hopefully force him into a throw that he doesn't want to make. That's the dichotomy of rushing a quarterback that's mobile. You want to get him, but also you don't want to let him beat you with his legs.
Best running quarterback in the game and leading the country in missed tackles as well as Diggs takes it ahead. Okay, so if you're a defensive coordinator, what's your plan of attack against LSU? What do you want to take away?
Well, there's a couple things, right? You want to make him, if you want to make him scramble, you want to make him scramble to his left, away from his throwing arm.
Here comes pressure from the edge. And Daniels sends it a little bit high to his tight end, Mason Taylor.
But I was going to say, if you are bringing that pressure, you want to make sure you mix it up. Sometimes up the middle and you let your defensive ends just sit wide and almost play zone defense on him.
Yep.
Right? You can't have everybody, 4, 5, 6 guys, all with eyes on the quarterback trying to get after him because he's going to hurt you.
Nate Woody in his first season as the defensive coordinator at West Point. Key third down for the Black Knights here on LSU's second possession. This is an Army team that has hung around games on the road against ranked teams. Took Oklahoma to overtime when Kyler Murray was there. That one's incomplete. A little too wide for Neighbors. Lost a double overtime to Michigan a couple of years back.
Boy, a rare miss by Jaden Daniels. These are the throws that he has been so accurate with all year. Actually, the third lowest off-target percentage in the entire country. Just under 6%, so that's one he usually makes.
Jay Bramlett will punt it away. Tyrell Robinson is back to receive for Army. That went off the side of his foot. Catches a break with a nice little hop. Now turn into a 41-yard punt for Bramlett. 9:01 remaining first quarter. Army's offense will get it back here in a moment.
SEC Saturday Night is presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet, connecting homes across the SEC.
Take it back to 1931. Army beat LSU 20-0 at Mikey Stadium up in West Point in front of 15,000. Wife of the governor, Mrs. Hugh P. Long, made the trip along with her 3 children. And LSU, according to newspaper reports, trying to get tricky. They ran the Statue of Liberty. That play where the wide receiver runs to the sideline, tries to pretend like he's got a shoe untied, then he pops up and catches the pass. They tried it all, didn't work. We should run that play.
That's not called the Statue of Liberty, though.
No, that's a separate one.
Oh, two of multiple trick plays. Gotcha.
Multiple. Harris puts it in the air and completes his first. That's good for a 9-yard pickup. Asian Marshall mentioned that he's worked with Lamar Jackson a lot. His dad is Lamar's quarterback coach. Look, the footwork's identical.
That's a great guy to look up to, right? It's a guy that's an athlete but comes from a spread background. Again, you're going to see more passing from this Army offense as a whole, but especially now with Bryson Daly out of the lineup and Champ Harris in it, that's more his strength.
Had a great chat with Champ this week. He talked about Lamar's influence on him, and he said, when I saw that Lamar insisted on being a quarterback instead of an athlete playing somewhere else, he said, I knew it was good enough for me. Going back to even his Heisman Trophy campaign season when he leapfrogged the defender at Syracuse. So I'm sure Lamar's keeping tabs on this one tonight. Robinson lost his helmet, has to come out for a play. Army in LSU territory.
It was pretty cool hearing Champ Harris also talk about how much he looks up to Jaden Daniels and his ability. Another dual threat guy.
I was talking with Jaden about that yesterday. When we asked Champ, I said, man, I've been watching that guy since he was playing at Arizona State. Had a fantastic freshman season. Well, option look here, and Harris with the late pitch, and whew, that was a lick by Zy Alexander.
Boy, so this is a little bit of that gray area that offensive coordinator Jeff Monken mentioned when talking about Champ Harris. Not familiar with the option, not something he ran in high school. This is one that you're that late to the sideline, you can't pitch it. As a quarterback, you got to tuck your head, get downhill as much as possible, slide, whatever you got to do. That late pitch is too dangerous. One of those nuances that Champ Harris, as a true freshman, still just learning.
Toby Olawale was the one that got laid out. He's also a freshman at a Buford High School just outside of Atlanta. There is no red shirting at the service academies. Harris pressured as he wanted to throw, and that one gets wide and incomplete. But they do have a prep school on post, and so a lot of their first-year players will go through the prep school, try to get acclimated to service academy life as best they can, and play a little football and get another year to mature. That wasn't the case with Harris. No prep school for him. True freshman.
True freshman, and has a prep school freshman, Brady Small at center. Another freshman, Kanye Udo at running back. Here under the lights with the noise of Death Valley on a 3rd and long here early.
3rd and 8. Pressured, and he stepped right into it. An LSU sack from Greg Penn III. It's a loss of 7.
Boy, 6-man slide protection. Running back has got to get out wide. He's got to be able to see this. He's got to scan from number 1, that running back, over the ball, and he's got to get out there. You see him waiting for it, right? Inviting that contact as a running back. You got to go initiate that contact, especially on that slide protection. Know his quarterback's trying to throw to the right.
Yeah, that's a veteran, Tyrell Robinson there. So after getting into LSU territory, Army will punt from midfield. They let it hop again and will end up inside the 10. It's a 42-yard punt. Dave Daniels led him to score on the first possession, get another crack at it here in the 3rd. Forget about Tay-Tay and Travis. This is your college football power couple, Olivia Dawn and #1 overall pick in the draft, College World Series champ Paul Skeens, back in Red Stick, spending some time with his significant other. Stars come out when we get back to Baton Rouge, don't they? They all heard Jordan was going to be in town. Foster Morrow, a Thursday night game.
Tough one.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to go there, but
no, it was good to see him. Loved covering him when he was here at LSU, and actually I loved how he handled that whole situation, his interviews post-game. He's a heck of a player, and all he's been through off the field as well.
Logan Diggs with the carry. That's a pickup of 6. Well, how about this? Jordan, OG Swifty, you used to lead tickets for Taylor Swift.
2012, man, left her 2 tickets to every game. Her condo was right down the street, about a block away. And I'd like to think that I walked so Travis Kelce could run. He thought he was being original, bro. It's been done before, but he just had a little better luck.
I guess so. What if Us Weekly's watching this one tonight? Here's Jaden Daniels on the run. And going down the sideline. Caught by Brian Thomas Jr. And he will take it to the house. 86-yard touchdown from Daniels to Thomas. Longest LSU play of the year. LSU leads the country in plays of 20 yards or more, 60th of the season for this offense. Damian Ramos for the point after. Snap was high but held. Bramblett, and it's 14-0 LSU. How about the speed for Thomas to get underneath that one?
Well, what we talk about when you're rushing Jaden Daniels, you cannot get behind him. Defensive end here working on true freshman Lance Hurd. He gets his eyes inside, so late getting back, but you can't get deeper than the quarterback, especially when it's Jaden Daniels. He's going to make you pay. Great job stepping up, slipping, getting back outside. And an even better adjustment by Brian Thomas on the outside. Look at that. Again, you have to level rush. You have to rush at him. You cannot give him a lane or an alley. And this is scramble drill right here. If you're coming back to the ball, flip around and go deep. How about that accuracy? That is as good of a throw as you're going to see. Thomas doesn't break stride, and that was after the escape and a full run by Jaden Daniels. Boy, he's playing at another level this year.
And already Thomas is over 100 yards. It's 114 receiving. It's a 7th consecutive game that LSU has had a 100-yard receiver. No chance for the return here. Cole Kublik.
Remember, Army defensive coordinator Nate Woody, when we met with him earlier this week, talked to us about what Jordan mentioned, that rush getting a little bit too far afield. He said, if we rush past the quarterback, we're playing a man down. And then all of a sudden, we're playing 10 versus 11. Perfect example of that right there for the Army Black Knight defense.
And it's going to be a tough night for Army to kind of pick your poison, what you're going to try and stop for LSU.
And that's the tough part. I mean, great speed rush, you win. But if you're not level with the quarterback, Jaden Daniels is going to make you pay. And it's a hard lesson to learn as a defensive end when your eyes are big as grapefruits and you think you got a sack and number 5 just goes not so fast.
Kanye Udo is in the game, a running back for Army, and he's got another positive gain. That's a 6-yard pickup on first down for the Black Knights. And what do you think Champ Harris is thinking? I mean, not only is he facing off with an offense that can put a lot of points on the board, but this, your first start in this building.
I have a similar experience, not quite a start, but my first real extended playing time was against Alabama on the road.
Yeah.
I remember just walking to the line of scrimmage going, we don't have anybody that looked like these dudes. So at first I was just marveling at how big and athletic the dudes across from me were. And then once you kind of settle in, once you get hit for the first time, okay, whoa, snap out of it. Like, yeah. I'm in a game here and this is just football. So he'll settle in here. Nerves early, a late pitch. Holding on to the ball a little bit longer than he'd like to a couple times, but he's got a bright future ahead of him. He's a really talented kid, and he's just going to get his feet wet here in Baton Rouge, and it's going to be a learning experience, and he's got a lot of good football ahead of him.
Kanye Udo had the carry there, picked up a first down. Out of the shotgun. Got to find room off tackle again. It's Udo, and he powers his way through that LSU front 7 for another pickup of 9 this time.
Well, you mentioned front 7. Really 6 guys in the box, which is something that Army making the switch on offense. You see all these guys, 6 guys in the box right here. The old triple option, boy, it was 8 or 9 guys in the box every single time. So part of the change to this type of offense is to spread guys out, create some rushing lanes between the tackles. And that's why you're seeing a couple of these runs have some success.
Drew Thatcher is the offensive coordinator. He was a wide receiver for Hal Mumme back in college, so air raid principles as a player. And Army's able to pick up the first down. That was a pickup of 3 that time for Tyrell Robinson.
Well, that's one of the things with Mason Smith we talked to Brian Kelly about, and I've actually heard Pete Jenkins on the sideline already talking to him about using his hands. His pad level had been too high throughout the course of the season. Also, I think playing outside was working against him, but he's found a nice home. He's settled in, using those hands a little bit better, shedding blockers, attacking more, and you saw it pay off for him on that play, even without a helmet.
But yeah, it needs to use the hands and snap the chin strap. That thing came out early.
Well, they don't snap anymore. You yank them back and they like zip tie.
Straight ahead again. Kanye Udo he was bottled up and got a little push before Jalen Lee could finally bring him down. It's a pickup of 5. This is, even though it's a different look Army offense, this is what they want to be. They want to try to dominate time of possession, wear you down, and put together long, sustained drives.
It's still a triple option in one way. Now that triple option sometimes is just an RPO or a screen on the outside. So still a run-first team. Again, though, they want to spread you horizontally, right? Spread things out. So takes that need to cut out of the scenario, and you can see him getting some momentum here.
Last year, 289 yards a game on the ground. They're about 100 yards less than that. And big swing all the way out to the numbers to Casey Reynolds. And Reynolds dives forward. And he'll pick up the first down. So what's the biggest difference statistically for this Army offense from year to year? How about this huge drop off in rushing percentage and yards per game, and the pass yards have pretty much doubled.
Yeah, and it's plays like we just saw, right? One extra, two extra guys in the box, flip it outside to get your one-on-one. Again, an element that Army in the old school triple option just didn't even have available.
Harris is 6'2", 193, talking with Drew Thatcher, this Army coaching staff. A lot of quarterback power. You need a very physical quarterback to pull that off. They'll lose yardage on his first down play. Mason Smith in to make another stop. This one's 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage on Robinson.
It was interesting talking to Brian Kelly about facing the Auburn offense last week, and he said, you know, there's a lot of carryover between what we saw there and what we're going to see here. This new age triple option, so to speak, as Jordan just described, I don't know if a lot of fans know that they're watching it a lot of times, but you watch Oregon, you watch UCLA, you watch Auburn. Essentially, that's what a lot of those teams are doing. A lot of the stuff that Ole Miss carries. It's basically triple option football.
Now 2nd and 13, over the middle, and intercepted by LSU. Overshot his man, and Andre Sam has it in his hands inside the 35. Second pick of the season for Sam. The pride of Iowa, Louisiana, and transfer from Marshall.
Boy, one of those things you notice real early as a true freshman is those boys up front. That's Mason Smith, 6'6". That's a big boy to throw over, right? It's an RPO route. Champ Harris trying to throw that over the top of Mason Smith and just too high for that short slant route. You want to throw those in the windows, not over the guys. Right there didn't have an option because Mason Smith was sitting right in front of him, caused that high throw and the interception.
First turnover of the game, and a short field now for Jade Daniels at LSU. Daniels, deep ball. Here's Neighbors. And he's got a first down inside the 15. It's a 20-yard gain. LSU trying to make it a 3-touchdown lead before the end of the quarter.
Yeah, let's see if they keep doing tempo in the red zone. Again, touched on it earlier, but Mike Denbrock and Brian Kelly mentioned they completely changed their red zone approach in practice this week. Instead of running it on Thursday, they ran it on Tuesday. Wanted their guys fresh, wanted the timing to be better. Saw it pay dividends earlier in the game. Now they're slowing back down the tempo.
I just let the quarter run down. And did Daniels take a timeout?
That's the end of the first quarter. Timeout.
Yeah, I think there was a little confusion there all around on LSU. If they're going to run a play, we're going to let it run out.
So they'll be knocking on the door when we return for the second quarter. Baton Rouge tonight and Jordan's post-game activities. Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, 19th ranked LSU won 61 of its last 62 home non-conference games. She's got your hat too. They're all over the place. Opening the second quarter, Brian Thomas Jr. in motion. Dane Daniels going to hand it off. And Logan Diggs pushes forward for a pickup of 3.
One of the things talking to offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock about the red zone struggles, he said it was kind of stubbornness on my part. I was just trying to dial up throws and plays to get the ball into the end zone when sometimes we just need to take what the defense has given us. They're playing back, playing cover 4. Let's dump it off, get our guys in space, and let them run in.
That's Neighbors in motion this time.
Throw it to him.
Going to the end zone and caught by Brian Thomas Jr., his second touchdown of the night. Has an 86-yard touchdown and an 8-yard touchdown. The interception set LSU up with a short field. They only needed to cover 33 yards and did it in a minute 13. Ramos for the point after. And this high-powered offense, number 2 in the country in total offense, is off to a quick start here tonight.
Great little cover 4 beater, a hook with a post right behind it. Safety bites up and leaves Brian Thomas wide open in the back of the end zone for his 11th touchdown on the season. That was an easy one.
What kind of conflict does that put Donovan Platt in the corner in?
Oh, it's hard. Corner safeties in the red zone. You got to be as much worried about run support and rallying to those short throws as you do the end zone throws. So great play call by Mike Denbrock. I think one of those stubborn play calls he was mentioning, dialing it up to throw it in the back of the end zone, but had a good one picked out there.
Well, they found their rhythm in the red zone, huh? I think sometimes it's just about making it a priority and a point of emphasis that the unit kind of figures out, okay, we can be better here.
And it was interesting. You know, you might think, well, switching it from Thursday to Tuesday doesn't do much, but man, I remember Thursday practices. You came off 2 days of hitting, you're tired, you've gone through a bunch of install, and you're probably not your sharpest going through one of the most important parts of playing the game, which is the red zone. So love that they switched it up, and it's paying dividends so far tonight.
Interesting. No return for Army in between quarters. Cole caught up with Army's head coach Jeff Monken.
Coach Monken, I know you told us with Champ Harris the pitch was something he really had to work on to become your starting quarterback. What have you seen from that part of his game tonight?
He got it pitched out there a couple of times. The one on the sideline over there, I probably should have tucked it up and run the ball, but you know, he's starting for the first time as a freshman at LSU, so it's a lot, but I think he's handling it really well. The last throw right there, I thought we had something there, and unfortunately he just made a bad throw and gave it to him in good field position.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.
Jeff Monken, second all-time in wins in Army behind the legendary Red Blake. There was a coach from 41 to 58 at West Point. Champ Harris, true freshman, making his first ever start. And Kanye Udo giving him some breathing room, picks up 4. Champ Harris played at St. Thomas Aquinas. It is an absolutely loaded program full of the D1 prospects each and every year. Started there as a freshman, came back as a senior, and he and his dad, talk about the pitch and getting acclimated to this offense. They went up to West Point for spring break to learn more of the offense. No early enrollees, but there's a gain of 3 on second down. That's really unique, to make the trip up and get a hold of the playbook and try to get ahead of schedule.
Yeah, it's unique, and I think that's kind of the era and the day and age we're living in. High school kids want to get to college as quick as possible, make an impact as quickly as possible. A place like Army, that means a little bit more. And again, not an option background for Champ Harris, but head coach Jeff Monken trusts him, knows he's going to develop into a guy that can be a really good player for them, even though he's been thrust into a tough spot tonight.
It's 3rd and 3. And held the mesh. Be right at the point. Tackle made by Major Burns, and now through for the first down. That's Kanye Udo again.
Hey, love Champ Harris too here, getting involved, trying to get his running back a couple more yards. Watch the handoff. Now follow number 7 here. He's going to get behind his running back, start pushing, and Harold Perkins goes, No, what are you doing? Get out of here. Come on. Love it, though.
Perkins just threw him down like he was a sack of crawfish.
Yeah, Perkins is something else, man.
Perkins, preseason All-American. They finally found a home for him. Sam linebacker now. They really moved around early on, trying to find the perfect spot. Option to the far side. That's a good-looking pitch and great timing to Tyrell Robinson.
It was kind of twofold with Harold Perkins in this offense moving to a 4-down front. It got him more consistently out on the edge at that Sam linebacker nickelback type position. They love that because, as Brian Kelly and as Matt House put it, he's got to be an alert for the offense on every play because they'll bring him so frequently off the edge there. He's playing in space, playing in coverage, and you see the numbers there. Last 2 games, that's been his primary home.
He had 3 sacks against Arkansas last year, 1 off the school record. They played incredible football down the stretch for this LSU team. Nobody knew how to block him. Harris lost the football. That's been an issue for Army the last couple of games. A point of emphasis in practice ball control, and that belongs to Obi Agolu. So Gofu, the transfer from Texas, has his first takeaway of the season. And this is a mistake Army cannot afford to make on the road against the top 20 team. The freshman Harris had the elbow pulled down. Gofu forced the fumble and picked it up, and LSU have a short field again. This season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, Allstate. Well, another LSU takeaway. Obi Gofu. One of 10 newcomers on the defensive side of the ball for Brian Kelly's squad. Defensive coordinator Matt House. John Emery is in the game at tailback for LSU. In 6 carries against Auburn last week and a touchdown. Here's Malik Neighbors, turns it inside, goes against the grain, and Neighbors is able to make a lot out of not much. It turns into a 23-yard catch and run.
Well, if you're wondering why or how he's leading the country in yards, here you go. Boy, a little now screen, just box count for Jaden Daniels. Too many guys in between the tackles, so let's throw it out to my guy and let him make a play.
Daniels 28 yards of completion here early in this one.
Is that good?
Pretty good. Emery gets bottled up after a couple. Leo Lowen, senior from Austin Westlake, with the tackle for Army. We visit with Leo this week. He was the MVP of the Army-Navy game last year with a 16 tackle night. One of the best games of the entire college football season, year in and year out. They're playing Foxborough this year. On 2nd and 9, Emery has a big hole, and he is down just inside the 1. Got out over his skis and missed a chance for the touchdown.
A great burst there as he dove for it.
The fireworks guy thought he was in because he went ahead and pulled the trigger.
The ruler of the runner being down short of the goal line is under video review.
Emery, one of the few holdovers from the national championship team in 2019. What do you got?
Ooh.
Knows the ball break the plane before that right elbow hits.
Sure look close there. This will be a good look right here. Right elbow, ball. Ooh.
All it's got to do is break that front part of the plane.
Oh, man, that is splitting hairs there. They called it short on the field.
Okay, so let's assume it stays short. Yeah. As the offensive coordinator, Mike Denbrock, or if you're Jaden Daniels, do you touchdown vulture him or you give it to him? I mean, he's got 4 inches to go. You give it to him or you give it to his opportunity? Back to Emery, yeah.
I don't know. As a quarterback, these are my favorite moments over at the couple-inch yard. Hey, just let me sneak it.
After video review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, LSU.
Let's see what they draw up here.
Well, just think about it. You got a quarterback that's in the heat of a Heisman race here.
Right.
They don't tell you how you got your touchdowns when you look at it on paper.
Well, they just look at the total.
It's just a total. Let's see what they do. Might be able to tell by the splits of these offensive linemen. They're real tight, real low. It's going to be a quarterback sneak.
There are no splits.
Yeah, none. They're hip to hip.
Emery's going to help him out, it looks like. And Daniels gets shoved over. No signal yet. And the ball may be loose at this point, even though the play was dead. Had to be in, right?
Had to be. There's a lot of bodies in there. Oh, no.
Second down. Oh, he got stuck right behind the center.
Ball gets where his belly button is. Still, though, almost looks like you just can't see. Too many bodies. Here we go. Run it back. It's rugby.
And that one's good. So James Daniels plunges in from the 1. He's on quite a run. He's got 3 consecutive games with at least 50 rushing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. The last SEC quarterback to do that, Johnny Manziel, back in 2012. Bo Nix and Michael Pratt, the other 2 FBS quarterbacks, 19 games with a passing and rushing touchdown.
Just really amazing watching his development since Arizona State. A little prone to turn the football over at Arizona State. A little bit of a system quarterback and what they had him do, and he has blossomed into not just a Heisman contender, but a guy that's a lot of NFL radars with the type of number he's putting up. And it has been a great night so far for LSU and Jaden Daniels.
It's 1-0 LSU, but dream come true for Connor Finucane. He's a Baton Rouge native out of Catholic High School, making his 26th consecutive start tonight. And for the first time ever, able to play here at Death Valley. Finucane is from Baton Rouge. He was a standout wrestler and a football player at Catholic High, where they produced all sorts of talent that has played here. Guys like Darius Geis. He's a captain on this Army team. And his teammate Sam Bartek said, you're going to have to kill this guy to try and beat him. He is Army through and through. Mic'd up before the game. Here's hometown hero Connor Finucane.
You mic'd up right now?
Yeah.
They're going to have to cut so much of this.
No, they can't use any of it. I'm pretty excited.
Good.
I'm a little giddy.
Should be.
A little whimsical. In big games, you got to make sure you change up like your mental process and be more tense and excited than you usually are. Because it's a bigger stage.
Exactly.
That was a hug from his mom, Veronica, when he got off the team bus here in Baton Rouge before the game. There she is. He was 6'1", 185 as a high school freshman, and this one's delivered on time to the perimeter. He got a great quote that he got from Coach Fertitta, who played for Catholic High School, when he was asked as a freshman about waiting his turn. He played as a freshman at West Point, but was behind some veterans. And he said it's not waiting your turn as much as it is working your turn. And I thought that was just tremendous insight to what it takes to be ready to go when your number gets called. The right tackle for this Army squad, and a great visit with Connor this week. They run option the opposite way, and not much doing for Champ Harris. Cole, you had a chance to catch up with Connor before the game. What did he say about coming in here to play here for the first time?
I just walked up to him, said I appreciated his time visiting with him earlier this week, and he said, man, this is pretty damn cool. And he was just looking around, taking in Tiger Stadium, and you could tell it meant a lot to him just to be here, and it means a lot to him to have that captain status and what he stands for with his football team. The transition that this offense is going through, not easy for an offensive lineman, technically, fundamentally. And listen, guys, at the end of the day, he wears a middle bar face mask. I don't know how you couldn't love him.
3rd and 2 now. Let's see if they run behind him. He is a tough dude. Trying to go right behind him, and good enough for a first down, looks like, for Udo. if this isn't tough enough, we've got a story about his toughness after this replay.
Yeah, working on Savion Jones here on the right side. I mean, he is tough, physical, and I'd be a little scared lining up against somebody with that middle bar face mask. Just don't see it anymore.
No, that is old school. He's talking with Savion Jones right now. He was playing football at Catholic High, and wrestling was already underway as soon as their season ended when he was being recruited by Army. And Brad Davis was his recruiter, came to visit him, and he was in a walking boot. And he walked with him through the halls of Catholic High School after class one day, and he said, well, where are you headed now? He goes, I got to go to wrestling practice. And Davis just assumed, because he had a boot on, that he was going to sit and watch wrestling practice. And he was shocked when he took the boot off, got on the mat, and went to work. And Connor said, hey, man, there's no time between football and wrestling. You got to get out there and make it happen, because we're already into the postseason in wrestling. On 2nd and 7. Udo bottled up, picked up 1.
I spoke to one of the offensive line coaches here at Army, Mike Vitti, about Connor before the game, and he said, listen, he's the most difficult coaching job in a positive way that I've ever had. And I just kind of looked at him and I said, I'm not following you. And he said, he's so far beyond everything that we teach. He watches film on other guys in the NFL, other college tackles. He'll come to me, coach, why are we not taking this angle? Coach, why don't we step this way? Coach, why is our hand placement not like this? And he said, they're all great points. He said he's way smarter than a lot of the other guys he's coached, smarter beyond his years as a college football player.
And now on 3rd and 6, they throw it out to the perimeter. Casey Reynolds can't make the first man meet. Here's a capper to that story. He put together his own triple option playbook. He said, there's so much nuance to blocking within the triple option, and I had a lot passed down to me from the upperclassmen when I got here. They're going to go for it on 4th down, which is no big surprise for Army. He put together his own 15-page offensive lineman playbook to share with his teammates. 4th and 4, Army converted the first 14 4th downs of the season. Tied for 3rd in the country in 4th down conversions. To throw, and it is nearly picked for a 2nd time by Andre Sane. And a little pushing and shoving. Finucane is right there in the middle of it. And we got a flag. That's the first penalty for either side. Army is one of the least penalized teams in the country. They've been penalized 20 times this season. That is 4th lowest. 4th fewest, I should say. Coach Monken talking with Finucane over there. Connor lost his dad when he was in middle school.
There are offsetting fouls, wage tag, personal foul, offense number 60, personal foul, defense number 4. Those fouls offset. The result of play is a first down for LSU.
And he talked about that in previous interviews. You said you have to grow up fast. You got to be the man of the house, and I've always carried a chip on my shoulder because of that. And that chip leads to a flag here at the conclusion of the play. He just put him on his back.
14 all time.
All right, Dari, thanks. That sounds like a fun one tonight. We'll be in Oxford next week. Vandy coming to town. Daniel's going to hand it off to Caleb Jackson. Good blocking on the edge from tight ends. It's a pickup of 7.
Boy, Caleb Jackson, the guy this staff is really excited about, true freshman. Me and Cole were down there on the field, and Cole, you even said, looks kind of like Saquon Barkley. I mean, he is thick, he is built.
I mean, those quads are massive. He has put together well. We've seen him a couple times this year just absolutely demolish defenders. Nobody forgetting that Mississippi State run.
On 2nd and 4, Daniels over the middle, tipped and nearly picked. That ball was tipped and still neighbors almost came up with it.
Well, it's a really good job by Camden O'Gara here, dropping back in zone coverage right over the ball there. Almost picked that one off. He's just sitting in zone coverage, reading the eyes of Jaden Daniels. Jaden thought he could squeeze that one in there and almost went the other way.
Third down 4. Daniels 7 of 11 tonight for a couple of touchdowns through the air. Everybody covered. Daniels has all day. And now he'll scramble with it. And win a foot race to the edge. It's a long run for a 10-yard pickup and a first down for LSU.
What did I say? When you're rushing Jaden Daniels, sometimes it's better to play zone coverage. Well, not that time. I mean, even when you're sitting back with eyes on him, you watch these defenders. Watch all these eyes. They're not trying to get to him. They're just going, okay, we got to keep him here. Keep him here. Where's he going? Where's he going? Trying to get eyes on him and just, he's going to make a play when you give him green grass.
Here's Logan Diggs with the carry, 5 yards. By the way, Daniels 3 touchdowns responsible for tonight. That's his 7th consecutive game, tied with Joe Burrow in 2019 for the longest streak by an LSU player in the last 2 decades. Burrow did it twice in the national championship season. His dad Jimmy and his mom at the game tonight. They've been in town about the week. Daniels pressured and should be rounding. Yeah. Left the pocket. They got pressure out. Quindraylon Hammonds out of Covington, Georgia. And they will drop the flag after the discussion. And intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding, offense number 5. The penalty is lost it down at the spot of the foul. 3rd down.
A good pressure and good play by Hammonds. Against Boston College, had 11 tackles and a pick. He played everywhere as a high schooler. Dual threat quarterback his sophomore year. They had nobody else to play it. Then mostly running back, wide receiver, defensive back. Under recruited for a small town team that didn't win a whole lot of games. Army was his first offer. And he's a key piece to this Black Knight defense. Backed up now 3rd and 11. 4-man rush. Daniels pressured. Steps away from it. Houdini's his way to Logan Diggs on the pass. And Diggs with a spin avoids a big hit. Picks up 8. This will be 4th and 4. ESPN analytics say go for it. 4th and 8 or less.
Looks like that's what they're going to do. Nope.
And so they're going to bring out Damian Ramos to attempt a 35-yarder. Ramos was busy opening the season, the second game against Grambling, first home game, and that one will go through. And 9 PATs might be on pace for another tight night tonight for Brian Kelly's squad.
Regions halftime report right around the corner. Doring and Watson will show you Bama's big second half. We'll update you on what's going on at Auburn. They're getting ready, closer to starting the second half. No problem here for LSU.
Sorry, I told you that LSU defense is coming around.
They need to start running the football and give it to Logan Diggs.
Selfish.
How about Jaden breaks one for 80? I'm okay with that, too.
All right, fellas. But really sit back and wait for Garrett Nussmeier to come in this game. He's just going to throw rockets all over the field.
Yeah.
Well, Alabama was able to come from behind, as the fellas mentioned. We didn't get to see much of the second half, but what a half it was. And Crimson Tide remain undefeated in conference. LSU and Ole Miss sitting right there with 1 loss apiece. What a huge opportunity that would have been for both LSU and Ole Miss had Tennessee hung on.
Yeah. Huge opportunity for LSU to knock off Bama in 2 weeks, though, huh?
Well, I was thinking about that from Jaden Daniels' perspective.
Yeah.
And I was wondering how much juice that game would have lost if Alabama had a loss to Tennessee today, and a guy that's kind of waiting for his Heisman moment, that's likely going to be the game.
There won't be a bigger opportunity for a Heisman moment for Jaden Daniels than that game right there. All eyes are going to be on it since it has huge implications in that SEC West battle.
Kanye Udo has nowhere to go. Taken down by Braden Swinson, Oregon transfer.
Swinson, great job off the edge there. So instead of reading that option,
you could have gone with a Dumb and Dumber reference there.
Oh, what'd you say? I don't listen to you half the time.
No,
Swami Swanson, Samsonite.
On 2nd and 13, a sprint out and a throw back. Well, that's a tough play, and it's incomplete, but nearly another LSU takeaway.
Boy, I love this little play again. Nuances of the new school triple option. Champ Harris is going to have an opportunity to pitch this or throw the little RPO coming across. That's just a really tough throw. Running one way, throwing it back, and Andre Sam almost had another one.
Yeah, Sam's got one pick tonight, and he's had 2 more
couple opportunities. Yeah.
Started his college career at McNeese and then to Marshall, and now back in his home state. On 3rd and 13. Ooh, what a hit by Omar Spates.
Well, one of the things you've gotten from Pete Jenkins coming in this group, using their hands a little bit better, and I think Jordan Jefferson, big 99 for LSU, has had a heck of a season. Doesn't get a lot of the publicity, not a lot of TFLs, but plays like that where he forces a run to bounce by striking and shedding and basically putting an offensive lineman 1.5 yards into the backfield does a lot for this LSU defense.
That dude's got a motor. I mean, even at the end of that Auburn blowout, he was still getting it done on the defensive line.
Still rolling. This defensive front is just playing at such a high level. So much improved from what we saw earlier in the season against Ole Miss. Obviously changing to this 4-down structure. Bringing in Pete Jenkins. They're playing inspired. They're playing more fundamental. And it's showing.
Let's take a look at Fansville, brought to you by Dr. Pepper.
Oh.
Yeah.
A little chug.
Really
okay.
good.
And the spike. Got some on her shirt, but that's okay.
Slap the bags coming up next. We got to make plays out there, son. There you go.
Hands like feet, but that's okay.
What a day for football here in Baton Rouge. The weather was absolutely perfect. Sunny and nearly 90 on this Saturday afternoon. Faircats taken backpedaling inside the 30 after a 46-yard punt by Gregory Clayton Jr. Anytime you start talking about that 2019 national championship team, people smile around here. It may have been the best offense we've ever seen in college football. Joe Burrow and company averaged 8 yards of play, 560 yards of offense. Hold on a minute. How about what these guys have been doing this year? 550 yards a game, still exact same 7.9 yards per play.
I mean, numbers are definitely creeping up. 2019 was just so special right across the board. But this LSU offense, they have weapons like 19 did. Jaden Daniels playing a little bit like Burrow at times.
Here's Josh Williams, and it'll be an 8-yard pickup.
The test for this offense will definitely be Alabama in 2 weeks. It'll be huge, right? Alabama playing much improved on that side of the ball, shut down Tennessee in the second half tonight. And that was when Joe Burrow and that 2019 offense were at their best. In the biggest games, they showed up. They didn't blink, they didn't make mistakes. It'll be a great test for this offense.
Now 2nd and 2. Daniels steps up, little shovel straight ahead to Josh Williams. He's got the sideline and a huge gain with a stiff arm. And maybe they get a few more with the flag. Jabbar Moore with the stop.
Boy, actually had a shot to get Malik Neighbors deep down the field. Gets spooked a little bit by the pass rush to his right, so steps up, smart decision, and then just get the ball to Josh Williams any way you can. Second time we've seen a little pitch, or we saw a chest pass almost on one of them from Daniels to the check down.
Like he was doing the Dr. Pepper halftime show.
I hate that they do that, by the way. Just throw it, you know? Where's your respect?
Respect the game. Daniels towards the end zone and is caught. Neighbors, touchdown LSU. 26 yards this time. .72-yard drive, needed just 27 seconds. Daniels 11 completions for 279 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Boy, watch the influence that Mason Taylor, the tight end, has on this safety. That really opens up this throw. Here's the safety here. You're going to get Mason Taylor is going to attack. Here we go, attacking that way, and then Neighbors is going to slip up the seam right there, coming from one side to the other. Safety bites with Taylor, creates the inside leverage for Neighbors on the corner. And a great throw right on the money by Jaden Daniels.
Daniels hitting on all cylinders here early on. I think one of the biggest differences, if you try to compare those offenses, would be the quality of competition. LSU 30-plus point favorites tonight against Army. They had Grambling early in the season, hung 72 on them. When that Joe Burrow offense, I mean, yeah, they had some non-conference opponents like Northwestern State, but they also had Texas that put 66 on Vandy and 42 on Florida. Coming into tonight, here's the comparison. Daniels just a hair behind him in passing yards. Of course, the best rushing quarterback in college football, way ahead of him in that one. And total touchdowns, Burrow through 7 games had accounted for 31. Daniels a half dozen behind.
Yeah, again, he's not going to match Joe Burrow as a pure passer, but that right there is what makes Jaden Daniels a nightmare to scheme for if you're a defensive coordinator. And really, I think what separates him when you start talking about the Heisman Trophy, right? His ability to affect you on the ground as well, as dangerous there as he is through the air.
It's hard to find one Heisman moment for Joe Burrow. I mean, the entire season was next level.
And that was what was most impressive, was sustaining that type of play. There wasn't a game where it was a little off. You know what I mean? Even down the stretch in that national championship run. And that'll be the test for Jaden Daniels. The ceiling is as high as anybody. The skill set, absolutely. Can he sustain the decision making and the elite accuracy that he's displayed when it means the most against, say, in Alabama in 2 weeks?
Gotta have a big moment in a big game. Certainly Billy Cannon did that on Halloween night against Ole Miss on his way to a Heisman Trophy here at LSU. Second and 6. There's a first down run for Army. And Kanye Udo, freshman from Mays Landing, New Jersey, picks up 16 yards. And that'll bring it into the first half. Well, did Army get a timeout? They say they did. Army used the timeout. Going to try to squeeze off one more play, it seems.
The game clock should have stopped for the first down. Please reset the game clock to 6 seconds. Army has called their first charge timeout of the half.
All right, so if you're Army and offensive coordinator Drew Thatcher and Jeff Monken, I mean, great opportunity here. Take the score out of it here. You get 6 seconds. You get the ball at the 45-yard line. Everybody practices every week your Hail Mary plays. What would you drop if you're Army here? Well, are you just going to run it and take the clock?
Are you confident in going to maybe like 2 or 3 receivers to the boundary and hit a little flat route to give you maybe 5 yards, take 4 seconds off the clock, get yourself a little closer for a Hail Mary throw? If you don't feel comfortable with that with a true freshman quarterback, then I would just try to change the launch point here, see if he can throw it down into the end zone. See if he can come down with it. I think that's what they're going to do here. As you see 3 receivers down here at the bottom. We used to call this play rebound. Those 3 guys going to run down, try to plant themselves in the end zone. But again, top of your screen, nobody on a receiver there. You want to get a little closer, you could take 4 or 5 yards here.
Everybody in the secondary is inside the 20 for LSU, 3 inside the 10. 4-man rush. He'll leave the pocket. Guys, time to get downfield and heave it. This one's going to come up short of the end zone, and it's intercepted by Zy Alexander. And Alexander gets taken down from behind. So 3 takeaways for this LSU defense. Alexander's still down after his helmet got taken off on that return. It's a 38-0 score at the break. Coming up at the half, you can watch the live performance from the Golden Band from Tigerland on SEC Network Plus. Start streaming now on the ESPN app. They are still the athletic training set tending to Zy Alexander. Brian Kelly over there as well. That was a hard hit on that lengthy return. The Southeastern Louisiana transfer. LSU hits the locker room with a 38-0 lead, a 24-point second quarter. Plenty to break down back in the studio with Watson and Doring. Here's Noka. SEC Saturday night, presented by T-Mobile 5G home internet from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where LSU has gone up to a big lead. Jaden Daniels getting some tosses in, but we might expect to see him in the second half. LSU with a 38-0 lead as we take a look at tonight's high-speed play, brought to you by T-Mobile 5G home internet.
Well, he had 4 quarters worth of stats in the first half, so his day is done, and it started with his legs. He's so dangerous outside the pocket, usually running the football. This time, finding Brian Thomas down the sideline on a picture-perfect throw, and then he has been laser accurate in the red zone, something they've wanted to improve upon. A couple strikes, one to Malik Neighbors, another to Brian Thomas. It's been a big day for Jaden Daniels.
Welcome back, everybody. Tom Hart alongside Jordan Rogers. Cole's down on the field. So what does this change about how you feel about Jaden Daniels, not just in this game, but as a Heisman candidate?
It doesn't change anything, right? We knew how dynamic he was outside the pocket. His development as a passer within the pocket, I think, has been the biggest improvement for this offense and for Jaden Daniels. He's just stacking numbers again. Looking forward to that matchup in a couple weeks versus Bama.
Well, that's how you read and react. Now we get to see how Cole will read and react. You can watch it every Monday night, 7 o'clock on the SEC Network, Cole.
One of the guys that was questionable about where he was going to be, how he was going to line up, where he was going to play for this LSU defense was Harold Perkins, and you see him here. Most coaches would be excited about managing one portion of this option play. Attack the ball carrier, force the pitch. Look at the speed fly down the sideline to be able to make the play. Completely insane. And I love the way Perkins came up to the ball carrier, forced the pitch, and able to change direction, get flat down that line of scrimmage. Just an uncanny ability to essentially make 2 plays in one.
38 yards of offense. Meanwhile, Army's going to switch it up at quarterback as well. No more Champ Harris. This is Larry Robinson, freshman from Detroit. So Robinson getting some run here.
Yeah, talking to offensive coordinator Drew Thatcher, I thought this might be the move. Dwayne Coleman is actually listed second behind Champ Harris, but Thatcher was really raving about Robinson. He's a Detroit kid, a conference player of the year, an all-state player as well, really talented, and I think they wanted to get a look at him in live game scenario.
Udo will power his way through for an Army first down. It's a pickup of 8.
Good work today from Champ Harris. Look, got thrown into the fire last week against Troy when Bryson Daly went down. Thrown into the fire tonight. First career start under the lights here in Death Valley. He fought admirably. A couple mistakes, but that's great. As a young quarterback, you want to make a few mistakes, get it on tape so you can learn from it.
Well, this is, you know, even though it's not the true triple option that it used to be, it's still very much a high rep offense. And the challenge for Champ Harris and now for Larry Robinson is Bryson Daly coming into the season was the only quarterback they had who had attempted a pass. It was only one career pass attempt. So Bryson Daly, when he finally won the job, he had to get a ton of reps to get up to speed with the timing of the offense. That doesn't leave a lot for your second, third string guys.
At all. I mean, reps in general, not a lot. You got to go down to the scout team a lot of times to get reps against a good defense, but timing is everything in this offense. When it was the old school triple option and even now. So you're seeing both these young quarterbacks looking good at points, and here we go.
Udo is able to find the perimeter and rushes his way for an Army first down.
Boy, Connor Finucane, right tackle here, just absolutely bulldozing the defensive end here. Breaking the hole wide open for Udo.
We're talking about Finucane, who lost his dad when he was a youngster. He said, I had to grow into my own man, always had something to prove and tried to dominate the opponent. And you can see he has done that at times tonight. If you missed it, he's a Baton Rouge product at a Catholic high school. Tyrell Robinson.
How cool was that shot right there? I could watch that from my couch for hours. Just those offensive linemen staring down the guy, the sweat dripping from them. They hate the fact that they got to be in a three-point stance, like snap the ball already. I mean, those big boys down there, especially in a physical run-first offense like Army is, they take a beating. They give one too, as you see Finucane just spitting, just being a dirty offensive lineman. I love it.
Cole brought up the face mask in the first half. Cole, how many middle bar face masks have you seen in college football this year?
Maybe 3.
Really? That many?
Yeah,
there's a couple of them out there. I've seen a couple of guys wearing them. There's not many guys. You don't see it a whole lot these days, but it's.
Why did it go away?
Well, we partially can't see.
Oh, come on.
It's part of it.
Is that important?
A little bit, yeah. I do think it affects your vision, though. I mean, it just kind of gets in the way. It's not that you can't see anything, but let's just be real. It's nerdy. I mean, guys don't like it.
I think it's a badge.
It's not cool.
Your nose is between your eyes. Your brain deletes that so you don't see it. Come on, that little bar is not getting in the way.
Your nose is between your eyes?
Well, ish.
On 3rd and 10, Kanye Udo is able to pick up nearly 8.
I mean, I think Thurman Thomas was the only one that could make it look cool for a little while.
He made a lot of stuff look cool. They're going to keep the offense on the field on 4th down.
The starter's still in for this LSU defense, so giving up a little ground here at the line of at the point of attack. One of those points of emphasis for this defense, with Pete Jenkins coming in and how they started this season here on 4th down, going to get tested again.
Little reverse pivot, wanting to throw out of it, and just a little bit wide and incomplete. Trying to find David Crossan, the Army tight end. 38-0 LSU, and the Fighting Tigers will take over after the turnover on downs here in Baton Rouge. Well, we can close the book on Jaden Daniels for tonight. 11 of 15 for 279 and 3 touchdowns in the air, 1 on the ground. He's earned his scholarship. His night is done, and he'll hand it off to Garrett Nussmeier. Out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, Marcus High School was 0 for 2 off the bench against Missouri. And this dude loves to throw. He finds Mason Taylor, his tight end, on the first play. You know, usually you go to a backup quarterback when it's 38-0 and you go, all right, kid, turn around, hand it off, let's run some clock. But we were talking with Mike Denbrock yesterday, and he goes, boy, Garrett Nussmeier loves his arm. And you cannot keep him from throwing the football no matter what the score is.
No, he might change a few plays at the line of scrimmage, but Mike Denbrock did say we need to let him play a little bit. You never know when you might need him down the stretch, as they did last year in the SEC Championship. Need him to be sharp, need him to continue to be able to work on things, but he is one of the best backups in the entire conference and really rounds out probably the best quarterback room in the conference as well, with Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier.
Entire second half of the SEC Championship game, threw for 294 and a couple of touchdowns. And that 294 was the most in a half in school history.
And he was ripping.
Yeah.
And love about him, like you said, he loves his arm, but Nothing scares him. He came in, he goes, we're throwing it deep. Let's go, Georgia.
On 2nd and 10, delivers a bullet to Kyron Lacey, turns upfield and will pick up a first down. So give us something to watch for when it comes to Nussmeier in terms of being disciplined within the passing game.
Yeah, I think it's how he manipulates the trajectory of his throws, because he could put every throw on the field on a line.
Yeah.
Right. But how he throws those touch throws, the deep over routes, the man coverage ones down the sideline where he needs to put more air on it so his receivers can adjust, because he has no problem throwing his 100-mile-an-hour fastball all the time.
Right.
And he's really good at it. Right. But that development as a quarterback, the maturity is knowing when to take a little bit off it, when to anticipate a little bit more. Does that well, but it's part of his game. He's still developing as well.
Pressure from the edge. It's picked up. Nussmeier going deep, and it is caught. Going Neighbors. Touchdown LSU. 51 yards, and Nussmeier true to the scouting report here early. Jordan told us what to watch for, and that was the perfect arc of the deep ball.
Absolutely. Love the anticipation here that he's going to throw with. Again, he could hold on to this ball a little bit longer, but he doesn't need to. He needs to get it up and out. And right here, he's going to let the ball go. Right? Look at, even with the safety, but put a lot of air on it, right? Instead of holding it, waiting for him to get open and then ripping it on a line drive, get it up and out early, put air on it, let your receiver adjust underneath it. Great example of what we were just talking about.
I'm even, I'm leaving. 45-0 LSU. Thomas and Neighbors have combined for 7 catches, 243 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That is a game. And we are still early in the 3rd quarter. And Thomas and Neighbors will join 2 of the most prolific receivers in LSU history with the statistical performance tonight. Tony Chase and Jefferson had 3 100-yard receiving games in the same game in 19, and now Neighbors and Thomas have matched that. Now this was the action in the first half. Garrett Nussmeier, Jay Daniels, hey, let's play it again. And so what Nussmeier said, anything you can do, I can do it. Same celebration, same handshake. Yeah, play it again.
How cool is that?
Kickoff through the back of the end zone. Let's get to the studio, checking with Dari.
All right, Tom, thank you much. And it's time for the road to the championship presented by Mercedes-Benz. And you know Ole Miss is still very much in that 14-14 game. Jackson Dart into the end zone, into the 3rd quarter. Ole Miss up on Auburn by 7.
We kind of had a feeling that that was going to be a close one tonight, and Auburn was going to throw everything they had at them with Hugh Freeze facing his former program. 9:07 to go in the 3rd quarter here. Larry Robinson has taken over at quarterback. He played in the Delaware State game earlier this season, making his college debut. And he wants to throw on 1st down and delivers on time to Liam Fortner. And Cole, this is an Army team led by an Army guy up front on that offensive line. Huh?
Well, we asked Coach Munkin about Mike Vitti, and he said he's the assistant offensive line coach. And I asked him, does he just epitomize Army football? Everything that's great about it? And he said, absolutely. Mike Vitti was a fullback, got 4 varsity letters, a 2008 West Point graduate. He was a team captain, also regimental commander. There's only 4 at West Point, and essentially that means he's in command of about 1,000 cadets at the same time. And the interesting part about that, when I talked to Coach Vitti about that before the game, he said, I was actually named a captain in the spring. Well, I was named regimental commander. They asked me to do that after I was named a captain. The only reason I didn't want to do it is I didn't want to split the 2 duties, because they both meant a tremendous amount to me and to my fellow cadets. It means you're in charge of about 1,000 cadets. And he said, you got to understand, Cole, we were at war when this took place. He said there were kids 4 months out of being under my tutelage. They were going to Afghanistan to fight. He said it was something that I took very serious, not something that we took lightly. He served his time in our military after he graduated in Afghanistan, earned a Bronze Star, earned a Combat Action Badge. He's coached the offensive line. He's coached the fullbacks. He's been the assistant head coach. He's been the director of alumni relations and high school relations for this Army football team. Retired a captain from the Army. And in 2014, guys, he did Mike's Hike for Heroes. He walked 1 kilometer for every service member killed in action in the global war on terror. That came to 7,100 kilometers. That's 4,400 miles. He walked from Washington to Baltimore for the Army-Navy game to pay tribute to his fallen soldiers. It took him 232 days to do it. And I can tell you this, after all of that, I told Jordan about him before the game, and I said, this guy's right out of Central Casting as a former Army fullback. And he is, because Jordan asked where he was, I said, you'll know him when you see him. And Jordan walked up right afterwards. He said, yeah, that's that guy.
That is a face of intensity, even with the score being what it is, and continuing to lead his guys on the offensive line. You just don't get those stories anywhere but the Service Academy. And that great responsibility of being a leader. And what's next for these football players and student athletes, it's different at the academy than anywhere else. LSU guys at their best are getting ready to go in the draft if they're hopeful. Totally different story when you go to school at West Point and have the military commitment to follow.
Tom, we actually had that discussion on the field before the game, and he said, listen, this place is cool. The SEC is incredible. I love watching it. I know what it means to everybody. He said, and I'm not trying to take one single thing away from Army football. It built me.
Intercepted by Andre Sam, his second of the game. And Sam's got the sideline now. He gets forced out of bounds by the quarterback, Larry Robinson. Second pick of the night for Sam, who had his hand on 2 others. He was an all-state wide receiver and kick returner in Iowa, and now the Marshall transfer is being impactful for this LSU defense on that side of the ball. Mike Vitti and this Army offense will go back to the drawing board, trailing by 45. Well, this much maligned Tigers defense is having a night tonight. They've held Army to just 3.5 yards rushing. I thought that was per carry for a second. No, that's 119 total, 3.5 per touch. And LSU keeping it on the ground here with Aaron Anderson, freshman out of Edna Carr, on the little touch. 45-0. Is this what you had?
Yeah. Not halfway through the third quarter, though. I mean, LSU offense has been on fire. Garrett Nussmeier is not going to take his foot off the gas either. But like you said, I've been more impressed with the defensive side of the ball from LSU. I expected this from the offense.
There's John Emery Jr. They'll set up 3rd and 1.
These are great reps for John Emery Jr. as well. And talking to Mike Denbrock, he even said, I'm not sure this is the best game for John Emery Jr. just because pass protection is something that he's still developing in, something that he can turn into a strength. He's such a great ball carrier, dynamic with the ball in his hands. But at LSU, when you throw the football like Jaden Daniels does, got to be able to protect as well. So great quality chance for development here for John Emery Jr.
Here comes pressure up the middle. Emery sidesteps the first and ends up picking up the first down. Emery was a 5-star recruit, top 5 running back in the country, Under Armour All-American coming out of Destrehan High School. Had 4 touchdowns for the national championship team in 19. Didn't play at all in 21. Whoop.
So this is a little miscommunication by Aaron Anderson. You see him going, yeah, my bad. This is a called run play. Army's going to blitz from the slot. There you see it just on the right side of your screen. Aaron Anderson, he's got to run a hitch route with eyes to the quarterback. All right, so he's got to see that guy blitzing, vacating, knowing, hey, the ball could be coming my way if Garrett Nussmeier decides to pull it out of the belly of the running back and throw the RPO.
That's a lot to watch for if you're a wide receiver.
No, it is. RPO in one way is kind of simple, but for the receiver, here's Aaron Anderson again.
Get through traffic. Will carry and get carried for a first down. There is a flag on the play outside the numbers on the far side. Anderson started his career at Alabama. One game for Nick Saban's squad last year before transferring. Could be a little complicated when you're doing the math. Threw the flag and he dropped his hat. Head linesman.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Illegal motion, offense, 2 players in motion at the snap. Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 2. Those fouls offset, replay, second down. Number 17 can remain in the game as his helmet came off as a result of the foul.
As Bo Nicholas Paul got flagged.
And Chris Hilton back in the lineup at the top of the screen here. He's going to move to get on or off the line of scrimmage. Didn't see it there, but as Anderson was motioning, he took a step back off the line of scrimmage. 2 guys moving at the same time. Chris Hilton was out the last 2 games. He's back, such a dynamic guy. Aaron Anderson's a speedster. I mean, even past Malik and Brian and Kyron, this is a deep receiving group.
Emory empties the backfield on 2nd and 10. And wide open against his own. That's Anderson.
Love it. That same route that he was supposed to run on the RPO. This one just a call pass play, so a little different, but Army's giving him a lot of room at the line of scrimmage, so they're going to take those throws, get Aaron Anderson some touches. I mean, he's a guy that was a 10-7, 700-meter guy in high school. He can absolutely fly, so him developing, being a guy that they can bring in and gadget him, get him the ball in space.
For your starter at Edna Carr, New Orleans, Emory bottled up on 3rd and short, and he actually lost a foot. Fourth and 2. Leave the offense on the field, up 45-0.
Army gets bigger, bringing in Darius Richardson, one of their only guys over 300 pounds there, down over the center.
And that's a first down for Chris Hilton Jr.
Boy, it's such a good job by Chris Hilton Jr. there. A lot of times receivers will get that and they'll want to keep stretching that to the sideline, keep stretching it. It's a great job here of seeing the lane. Watch this, sticking his foot in the ground and getting north and south. Instead of trying to follow that running back and getting washed and probably not picking it up,
get
north and south.
Hilton's guy has had to deal with injuries throughout his time here in Baton Rouge.
I think Nussmeier's going to take this one-on-one matchup at the top.
Or at the bottom. Back of the end zone and too strong for Lacey. And into your living room.
What'd we say? We said Garrett Nussmeier loves throwing the football. If you give him an opportunity to change the play at the line of scrimmage, he's going to do it. Thought he might work the field there just because had a little more room. You run out of room on that boundary fade quicker than you think, but he's trying to light up that stat column and say, hey, Jaden, I can catch you here.
Will he go to the top here?
He's got press coverage this time, but he got a safety helping over the top.
They'll run it, and Emory tried to make a shifty move and ran right into trouble after a 2-yard gain. Caleb Fortner, senior at a Knoxville and Central High School in Tennessee, along with Jack Latour, in on the tackle for Army. It'll be the 10th play of the drive for LSU. Lance Hurd, the freshman right tackle.
Ball start, offense, number 53. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Oh, we talked about the true freshman Lance Hurd getting the start at right tackle right here. He knows pressure's coming, and he just starts leaning a little bit. Boy, it's tough to redirect 340 pounds when you got your toes off the ground. You're falling backwards.
Played 59 snaps last week against Auburn. 3rd and 13. Nussmeier fires end zone. Incomplete. Good coverage on the back end. He's trying to find Anderson. Jimmy Charlo was back there.
Boy, really good coverage. Nowhere to put the ball there. If you're Garrett Nussmeier, does a great job of leaving that one high. I mean, if by chance your guy can make a miraculous catch, great. If not, you're in field goal range. Don't want to try to force it into a window that's not there and turn the football over. Underneath coverage there and a cover 2 look with Jimmy Charlo carrying the seam.
32-yard attempt now from Ramos. He's already made from 35. And he knuckles it through. 48-0 Tigers. Well, it's the first time LSU has hosted an academy, but they have deep military ties. When they were originally founded as Seminary of Learning and Military Academy up in Pineville, the first superintendent was William Tecumseh Sherman. Wasn't a general then, but certainly became one. That was in 1860. He's a West Point grad, class of 1840. That original football team had 19 cadets and 5 professors. So he would stay here at LSU only for a couple of years. And then a little thing called the Civil War started, and he said, I'll see y'all later. I'm going to take my torches to Atlanta eventually. And went to go leave here to lead the military.
Boy, if it wasn't just leather helmets, he'd be a guy that had that center bar as well.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All-male military seminary when LSU started.
I was so surprised. You mentioned it to start the broadcast. We were talking about it down on the field. First time an academy has come to Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Played in Death Valley here.
It's not the first time an academy has had influence, certainly here. Paul Skeens, who we saw earlier tonight, started his baseball career at the Air Force Academy, Colorado Springs, and then ended up transferring in, played for Jay Johnson's team, bring home a national title. And LSU has hosted a couple of teams that weren't service academies by name, but U.S. Navy pre-flight. The students from Georgia played here in 1942. That was a 34-0 win. And in 43, they hosted the Louisiana Army. It's a freshman quarterback, Larry Robinson.
A couple new faces in there for LSU as well. Whit Weeks, true freshman linebacker, kind of an old school thumper, Matt House calls him. Guy that's improving more and more as the weeks go on. Army guy down on the field now.
Looks like the tight end David Crossman. So 2nd and 1 as soon as this is figured out with the athletic training staff dealing with Crossman. Big picture for LSU, 48-0 lead here, which was expected in many ways. That's what the experts thought, at least a little bit more than that. The big game will be Alabama.
Yeah.
And an opportunity for Jaden Daniels and this team not only to prove offensively that they can continue this trend, but I think for Matt House and his defensive unit a chance to show that the changes they made schematically are going to serve them long term.
No doubt. I mean, what they've done up front really to build a wall, as Matt House calls it, be stiffer against the run, simplify things on the back end. But I will say the concern would be how thin they are in the secondary, right? A lot of injuries, a lot of youth down there.
That includes Zy Alexander.
Zy Alexander went down earlier in the game.
And he has not returned since the interception in the first half. That one's batted away. They're already without Denver Harris, who's not available tonight. Ashton Stamps was injured. He'd been playing a lot early. They're going to have to find some depth and therefore opportunities for guys to say, listen, I was a big-time recruit. I signed with LSU for a weekend, for a reason. I can help out.
No doubt that learning curve has just got to speed up, and defense was an area of concern before the season started, right? Brought 10 guys in from the portal on that side of the ball, trying to figure out who they were on the back end, what guys fit into this scheme, and as the scheme's changed here over the last couple weeks as well, still in flux.
And I think that was an interesting point that Brian Kelly made when we were talking to him about restructuring the defense, you know, a third of the way, nearly halfway through the season. And the question we asked was, well, why did you get so far into the season before you realized it had to be restructured? And he said, listen, we had 10 new faces over there. We obviously thought it was going to work. And then we had some games that were blowouts. Outside of Florida State, the Grambling State game wasn't a contest. They ran away from Mississippi State early. It kind of felt like a lot of those warts were hidden in some of those big games and then drastically exposed against Ole Miss before they had to finally pull the plug and make drastic changes.
Yeah, I think part of it is you get into an odd type 3-down front because it benefits schematically where you can put Harold Perkins, right? One of your best players. You got to figure out how to get him on the field and how to make him effective and successful. And when you're in that kind of front, you can move him around a lot. That's the benefit of it. The negative side is not as stout versus the run.
Yeah.
You can get out of position a lot easier. And so they found out we got to simplify. We got to be bigger up front. We got to fill gaps more consistently, so we're not having guys in space, and that allowed Perkins to move outside, and they're starting to find their identity on that side of the ball.
3 quarters in the books here at Death Valley. It's a 48-0 lead for the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Now 1 quarter left to play here before the night is done. As the veteran defensive line coach Pete Jenkins rejoined LSU, working for his 4th different LSU head coach this season, and that LSU defense has 4 takeaways tonight. It's 7 over the first 7 games. Larry Robinson, the quarterback for Army, hands it off. Cole, when you can bring in a guy like Pete Jenkins, that is a loud voice in the defensive meeting rooms.
It absolutely is. And he's a guy who technically and fundamentally I think is the best there's ever been from a defensive line coach perspective. A lot of folks don't understand he's been training guys to go get ready for the combine. He goes to NFL camps in the offseason, helps those guys out. A lot of NFL guys come back to him every year just because they want his tutelage and want his advice on what they're doing. He's an absolute legend in college football, especially here in Baton Rouge.
Talking to Matt House about adding him, once the season was already underway, he said, man, I absolutely love it. There's a big-time tackle on the edge. And that'll leave 3rd down. And it's the 4th time Matt has worked with him. Matt on the far left side, defensive coordinator in his 2nd season. Yeah, all smiles tonight, pitching a shutout. But he'd worked with him both in the NFL side and on the college side, including his time at Kentucky.
Speaking of smiles, Tom, I saw Pete Jenkins coaching the guys up in the first half, and he was smiling while he was coaching them. And he was the defensive line coach when I was at Auburn, so obviously we spent a lot of time in the same proximity. He's the only guy that can really get after his kids but still have a smile on his face. And I think people know where I'm trying to go with that. He could, cuss him out a little bit and still have a smile on his face. He made you feel great about yourself every day. He's an amazing human being, 10 times the human being that he is a defensive line coach.
Wait, did you ever get cussed out by Pete Jenkins?
No, Pete was always nice to me. He actually wanted to recruit me over because I didn't play down of offense in high school. So Pete used to always say, if Trickett keeps getting mad at you, I'm just going to tell him to send you over here with us. And unfortunately never happened. But we did actually play Army in the 1996 Poulan Weed Eater Independence Bowl. And
Weed Eater?
Yeah, Poulan Weed Eater Independence Bowl. It's Poulan, Dave. And Pete Jenkins, defensive line coach. I was on scout team running center. And we had a quarterback named Ryan Hooker from Pontotoc, Mississippi. And he ran triple option from 7th grade to his senior year in high school. And we absolutely wore our defense out every day. This is Takeo Spikes, Ricky Neal, Martavius Houston. And Pete Jenkins would just lose his mind every single day. Still had a smile on his face, though. One of the all-time greats.
And Army put 22 up on you all in the fourth quarter, but still came up a bit short. Back in a moment.
Has got to get a stop or their playoff hopes are over. Daniels for the win. Caught. It's good. LSU does it. Mason Taylor.
Well, that night the only bigger party than right here, Death Valley, was at Fred's in Tigerland. They were losing their collective mind on the 2-point conversion, and the decision to go for it and the execution to cash in.
Love the decision. All right, that's one of those things that before you start that drive as a coach, you're like, all right, we're going for it. We're going for the win. And to have the trust in Jaden Daniels, they're going to need a little bit more of that magic in 2 weeks when they face Alabama again. I see that game going very similar, right down to the stretch, right down to the wire.
The wire.
There we go.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. I'm here for you.
Down the stretch, down to the wire. You know.
I think what's really interesting, looking ahead of that game, we saw what Alabama did in the second half. But offensively, obviously LSU much
Ball
more
start.
explosive,
Offense, number 84.
more productive,
5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
more balanced than what Alabama has shown to the point of this season. 550 yards a game offensively. Bama's defense allowing 292. That's a huge difference in points per game. So something will have to give. Cole, how do you figure Alabama's defense matches up against what LSU does offensively?
Well, I'll preface this with I don't think there is a defense that matches up with this LSU team. You got to force them into some mistakes. And I do think Alabama has the ability at corner with some of their size and length to reroute some of these LSU receivers, at least try to throw the timing off. And I think they have guys up front. Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, Tim Keenan's coming along inside. Justin Mboibe's played some pretty good football here of late. I think the only way to attempt to defend and maybe even have legitimate success against this LSU offense is to disrupt up front, both in the pass rush and in the run game. Other than that, I don't think you're just going to line up and try to match up with their guys on the perimeter. It's not going to happen.
I mean, is that going to be a race to 55?
No, because I don't think Alabama can get there.
Exactly. So how that game starts is going to be really important. Right? If LSU jumps up early in that game, that changes how Alabama wants to play football. They're not built to throw it all over the yard, right?
Yeah.
Milroe's been great in play actions, pushing the ball downfield, but they're not a throw it 40 times a game. So imperative that LSU would start fast in that game.
And I think evening things out, like Matt House and Brian Kelly have done with this defense, Jordan. Hey, Alabama's offense, when you watch them, they feel like they're becoming a shot play offense.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it's a potpourri of plays, and then the shot play is the ogre that just stays there the entire time. They don't really have a good feel and rhythm for what they run and try to build upon week in, week out. So I don't know if it's going to be as big of a challenge for LSU's defense as some people believe.
Do people still use like a potpourri in the bathroom? Like a bowl? Isn't it like a bowl of potpourri?
There's also the spread.
Well, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that stuff's great.
That's fantastic.
I'm not sure what's in bark and the leaves and the branches and the gumballs, whatever they put in.
Gumballs.
The gumballs that fall off the trees.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we call it.
Those gumballs.
Spiky things.
Third and short. You think in Columbus that Potpourri's got some Buckeyes in there, especially after that big win against Penn State today?
Yeah, probably. What a statement win, huh?
Wow.
Penn State been playing so well, it felt like this was the moment for them.
Your boy Franklin.
Yeah.
On 3rd and 1, they're able to convert it. Trey Holly with an opportunity to get some touches here. Freshman out of Union Parish High School. By the way, other scores of note to our viewers tonight. Maynard Chiefs round robin got started today. Air Force took care of Navy 17-6. All week Troy Calhoun was saying he didn't think his quarterback was going to play, and not only play, but he started. And Zach Larrier threw a 94-yard touchdown in the 17-6 win.
pretty good argument that's the best Group of 5 team in college football right now.
I don't think they have much left on their schedule either. 7-0 is Air Force now. You got Colorado State, they got Army on the 4th, and that'll be in the Springs, and then Hawaii, UNLV, and Boise. No room on the outside for Noah Kane, and a first down. Now Jeff Monken, when you're the head coach at Army, you're really judged by one game, and when he started, only one win in the first 6 against the midshipmen. And since then, against both Air Force and Navy, 8-4.
Yeah, not just that rule change that we were talking about as the impetus to change in the offense. I think Jeff Monken mentioned in 18 games against Service Academy, they only scored 21 points twice, right? And you're running a triple option against a team that they run it every day too.
Yeah.
So trying to find a way to make those games more difficult, to score more points, and not present those academy teams with something that they're used to seeing. Trying to create an advantage in those games, because as you mentioned, when you're a head coach here at the Service Academy, those are the games you're truly measured by. So it's not perfect tonight. It definitely wasn't. Outmatched by LSU in a lot of areas, but this is an offense that if they can start to hone this in and create a niche here for these service academies, that could be the advantage in those games.
Air Force is still getting it done on the ground, but also leading the country in yards per catch. So all 3 of them have had to make adjustments to what they do and how they block on the offensive side. There's Trey Holly with a big physical run for a first down. It is America's game. For my money, there's nothing better. If you get a chance to go see Army and Navy, you got to go. I had a chance to watch them in Philly in the snow a few years ago. This year's matchup is at Gillette on December 9th. Army won in overtime last year, 20-17. Neither team has won back-to-back meetings since Kenny Amadalolo's team did it in 17 and 18.
I really want to go to one of those. I mean, we're spoiled in the SEC, right? These games we get to go to on Saturday nights are unbelievable. There's not a better brand of football, but there's something special about that environment. Something different.
From the march on to the alma maters. It's a spectacle that you just don't get anywhere else. And what is humbling about it and sobering in many ways is understanding that they're going to beat each other's brains in for 3.5 hours, and they're going to end up serving together.
Yeah.
Marlon Martinez is the injured LSU offensive lineman with 6:32 to go in the 4th quarter. And we'll step away for a timeout.
SEC Saturday Night is presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet, connecting homes across the SEC.
The Heisman Trophy moment. To win one, you have to have one. Be it Billy Cannon's Halloween run,
89 yards for a touchdown,
or Joey Football's entire 2019 season.
Can you have 2 Heisman moments in 1 year?
Jaden Daniels, this purple and gold stage is now all yours.
What I'm capable of doing with my talent, stretching my imagination, watch it turn.
The Heisman moment is coming for Jaden Daniels. That opportunity against Alabama, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground tonight. And has not taken a snap in the second half as he handed it off to Garrett Nussmeier. And Army is able to bottle up Noah Kane. What are his chances?
He's got a great chance, right? I mean, the guys ahead of him right now. Michael Penix Jr. had his against Oregon. Dylan Gabriel had his against Texas. You need one of those moments, and Jaden Daniels he's poised. Again, though, go back to he knows that stage is huge. I even asked him about it a couple days ago when we talked. Told him, hey, it's impossible to ignore it completely, right? I mean, but you don't want to focus on it. And he goes, I just try to be where my feet are.
Yeah, I thought that was a great answer. Straight ahead run for a first down for Kane.
Which is so hard as a 19, 20, he's 22-year-old quarterback. You got social media. You can be anywhere you want to be when you look at your phone. You can see anything you want to see, but to try to focus mentally on just where you are, the task at hand, not easy, but he's doing a great job of it right now.
One of his competitors may have been knocked off tonight. Virginia won on the road at number 10 North Carolina, even though Drake May threw for 347 and a couple of touchdowns. First loss of the season for the Heels. What a huge win for UVA. And a Baton Rouge native, by the way, getting it done for the Cavs tonight. And they go left side, and Kane got it across the goal line for a touchdown.
Oh, we just mentioned Penn State losing to Ohio State. Noah Kane, the former Penn State running back. See if he gets across the line here. Looks like he does. Great stretch. A couple great stretches tonight. The one didn't quite have enough evidence earlier to see if it was across the line, but this is a deep receiving core like we're talking about for LSU, but oftentimes you overlook how deep this running back group is too. From Diggs to Josh Williams, Caleb Jackson, the true freshman, John Emery Jr. we've seen a lot of, Noah Kane. Got a lot of dudes that can tote the rock.
Ramos pushes it through. Double nickel for LSU tonight. And still 4:40 to play. Jake Daniels had it in the first half. 3 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground. 279-yard passing night for Daniels. And the Nussmeier company kept it rolling. Lots of smiles tonight. Welcome back to SEC Saturday Night, presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet. They are sticking around even if they have bad balance all night. 55-0. And a fair catch taken. Mentioned that a Baton Rouge product had a big game today. UVA shooting victim Mike Hollins out of U-High right here in Baton Rouge. 3 touchdowns in UVA's upset win on the road against North Carolina. Star of the day in college football, no matter what else happens.
On a cursed Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
See ya.
Caleb Williams, you gotta get out of here. Fansville is cursed.
No, Fansville's not cursed.
I swear on Dr. Pepper, it's real.
I'm not superstitious. I'm number 13.
13? No.
And I'm on the cover of this magazine and this video game.
The compass, no!
Literally walking under 3 ladders as you speak.
Ladder Emporium, no!
I even have a black cat.
Get out while you can!
That was weird.
Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve.
Some people just know what road to take. Those are the people who know to choose Allstate.
The service road is faster.
Turn left.
Not happening.
He knows better than any GPS, and he'd point you in Allstate's direction.
Go all the way down the road past the big gray warehouse.
Take the next exit.
You're not from around here, so you don't know the back roads.
I don't want to be late for the party.
I'm gonna save us 5 minutes.
Some people just know what road to take.
You're on the fastest route.
Those are the people who know safe drivers save 40% with Allstate.
For 5-star backyards, Yellowwood brand pressure treated pine. If it doesn't have this yellow tag, you don't want it.
If you are planning some amazing adventures, the Regions Prestige credit card lets you earn cash back on your everyday purchases. Plus, earn even more cash back with Rewards Multiplier. And if your card's rewards are as unlimited as your imagination, there's no telling where you'll go. If you're ready to get yourself in gear, if you're ready to explore your life to the fullest, get the card with unlimited cash back to get you there faster.
Regions Bank, embrace the if in life.
DealDash.com. Online auctions since 2009. This PlayStation 5 sold for only 50 cents. This iPad Pro sold for less than $34. And this Nintendo Switch sold for less than $20. Go to DealDash.com and see how much you can save.
Let's take a look at the headlines throughout the Southeastern Conference tonight. Well, Rogers was a no-go. Mike Wright got the start, and Mississippi State outscored Arkansas 7-3. Missouri ran past South Carolina 34-12, the school that invented homecoming. And Alabama trailed 20-7 at the half. Outscored Tennessee 27-0 in the second half. That was quite the turnaround. Ooh. Meanwhile, Ole Miss is hanging on against Auburn, up 28-21. And that game is now over. Is under a minute to play, but Ole Miss can take a knee and run out the clock. Kiffin was talking about that this week, and he said, listen, they're going to throw everything at us. So he knew that they were going to get a game tonight from Hugh Freeze.
Well, we know Auburn are talented enough, and Hugh Freeze is creative enough that they can put one together. We saw it come close against Georgia.
Yeah.
Right? They're not talented enough, and they're still far enough off. They're not sustaining success, but every now and then they can go blow for blow, as you're seeing tonight against Ole Miss, just once again coming up a touchdown short like they did against Georgia.
Dwayne Coleman, sophomore quarterback out of Selma, Texas. Roosevelt High School, third different quarterback Army has used tonight. After they started, true freshman Champ Harris. There's Miles Stewart. He's a New Orleans native.
Well, this Army team fighting to the very last. You expect nothing less, but getting a little chippy down there after that play.
4th and 5, they're going to punt it away. They have gone, well, the clock is running out now on Auburn. They'll go 28-20 will be the final there. Let's get it to Laura Rutledge and our friends at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Wherever fun happens, Academy Sports and Outdoors is there.
55-0 LSU out in front of Army. 500 yards of offense again for this LSU team. 500 right on the dot.
It's another day at the office for 5, huh?
You know, one thing I noticed, a handshake over on the sideline for the 6'4" senior. That dude's got big hands. And he's got great ball security.
Great ball security, but, you know, I think it's something that oftentimes every year when the NFL draft comes around, we kind of scoff at it. We laugh at it because the storyline's always who has the small hands, right? And yeah, sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. If you can throw it, you can throw it. But it is absolutely an advantage to your ability to manipulate the ball, change your arm angle, right? I mean, the more solid you are and secure you are with the ball, the more you can whip the ball, change your arm angles, and Jaden does that as good as any.
So 2nd and 9 now for Garrett Nussmeier and company. So you're saying hand size doesn't matter for a quarterback?
No. No, I think it does to a degree.
Yeah.
Right. Look, if you can throw it, you can throw it. But it's definitely an advantage to have bigger hands. Oh, are we doing this?
Yeah.
We doing this? Oh,
okay. No, I'm the better quarterback.
No,
yeah, I got QB.
Can we get a remeasurement here?
No, sorry. I win.
I need to be like Kenny Pickett and stretch these guys out a little bit more. We can remeasure.
I mean, to be fair, I'm 3 inches taller than
whoa,
you. So
whoa.
2.5
at best. You're wearing heels still.
Facts. Whoa! Off to the races. Trey Holly. One man to beat, and he does so. An overwhelming run for Trey Holly to take it 67 yards. And that'll be a 61-point total for LSU so far.
Boy. Mason Lunsford, right guard, great block pulling around to open up that hole. And that's all speed.
Jaden Daniels ran halfway down the sideline.
I mean, isn't it fun to watch him, how much joy he's having celebrating his teammates, not just Garrett Nussmeier, but everybody else. He's the #1 cheerleader tonight for LSU. That's fun to watch.
Half the bench was down there. Harold Perkins, what's up down there, excited about some of those other guys getting reps.
It's the longest LSU run of the year. It's 62 on the board. The same team that dropped 72 on Grambling, which is the third highest scoring total in program history. Game 2 of the season. School record for LSU for points in the game came in 1936. What's your guess?
1936. I'm going to say.
Not that the year has anything.
No, I know. I'm going to say 84.
Yeah, you're not far off. 93.
Wow. You know, we always kind of know those numbers it hits on. As soon as I said 80, I'm like, I got no idea where the touchdowns add up to. I'm like, wait, what?
Carry the 2.
93, that's a day, huh?
That is a day. The fair catch taken on the kickoff by the Black Knights. .23 first downs for LSU to 12 for Army. The Tigers averaging 9.5 yards per play in this one. And better than 6 yards per rush. Brian Kelly was really excited about having Army come to town. You know, they painted the end zones. They put the flags on a couple of the coaches' shirts. He took Central Michigan to West Point years ago when Bobby Ross was the head coach. They made sure they got there early enough to see campus, to see the post, and show their appreciation. And as is customary, both schools will sing their alma mater with the other standing behind. And finishing touches on a 62-0 game. LSU pitches a shutout for a defense which has caught a lot of flack and had to reinvent itself. Not quite the midway point of the season. They held them to 0 tonight. Let's get you down the field. Callers with Brian Kelly.
Coach Kelly, your defense looked great. Obviously, your offense looked exceptional. I don't want to hold you up for what you're getting ready to go do. Just tell us what it means for your team to be able to compete against this Army squad tonight.
Yeah, it's first time ever in Tiger Stadium to have West Point and a service academy. As you can see, you know, they had God Bless America playing, and the entire stadium was electric. This was important to the state of Louisiana. It was important to LSU. Our governor was here tonight. There were many, many elected officials, and just to be able to honor our servicemen, and certainly West Point and the pride and tradition that we have for our servicemen and women. It was a great night.
I want to hold you up, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
I mentioned the governor, John Bell Edwards, is a West Point graduate. And in the building tonight to watch this LSU team take care of business. And all smiles for LSU for a lot of good reasons. And they get a week to regroup if they need, recuperate, and get healthy before they make the trip over to Tuscaloosa in 2 weeks. And that will be an opportunity for Jaden Daniels.
Huge opportunity to shake up the SEC West, clear things out. And you saw Malik Neighbors and Jaden Daniels walking off the field there together, arm in arm. They might be taking some hardware home.
Welcome. Workin.com. Workin.com. $49 job postings.